Question is, when officially a person become a living human being? The Gemara says 40 days before the person become a human being, an angel comes and take a drop of seed, and he asks God, what's going to be the fortune of this drop? Who is going to be the baby? There are many, many, many thousand, millions of people who are waiting to come back to improve their soul, what we call tikkun, to improve the soul, to improve certain things that we did wrong in our previous life. There's an opportunity to improve it. So what happened? Now they decide what's going to be about that drop. And there is a decision that is made in advance for the person. If he's going to be handsome or not, it's decided. Male or female, it's decided. If he's going to have wealthy life or life of poverty, it's decided. If he's generally going to be a healthy person and strong, or he's going to have all kinds of weaknesses and sicknesses, it's also decided. Who is going to be his parents is decided. Basically, everything is decided for him before he even came to this world. The Gemara says, but there's one thing who is not decided for the human being. If to be righteous or wicked is 100% in the hand of the person. Once he's in the body, and the body has what we call the evil inclination, which is always pushing the person to the negative things against God and against the Torah, comes the soul, enters the body from the nostrils. That's how the soul penetrates into the body. And the person becomes alive. The question is, when is the person considered to be alive? Why it's important? Because once he's alive, if somebody kill him, even though he's still in his mother's womb, then he can become a murderer. If he's not alive, it's not a murder. If he's alive, it's already a full murder. So we need to know exactly from what day he becomes a living creature. So let's see what the scientist has to say. Professor David Leger, he wrote a book, was published in Israel by Masada Publication in 1983, page 43, that's the source. It's called Playing with Life. And this is the conclusion of the scientific world according to 1983. It did not change to the best of my knowledge since then. It says that in the 40th day, 40, we already begin to measure brain waves and brain activity and sense life in the life of this new baby. Let's see what Chazal, the Gemara, the sages had to say approximately 2,000 years ago, and this is written by the Rambam about 800 years ago. This is what it says. Amapelet leyom 40, a woman that had an unfortunate miscarriage. Up to 40 days, she doesn't have to worry about a living baby that just fell. The 41st day, 41 day, she's already got the impurity of if it was a boy or a girl, whatever it is, and also nida. So that means, according to this Gemara, the Gemara already knew that the life of a baby begins in the 40th days, going into the 41st day. The Vlad Ba'adam, the person, nigmar le-40 yom, is completed. The human being is completed in the 40th day. Amapelet pachot me-40 yom, eno vlad. A woman that had a miscarriage in the first 48 days, there was really no baby. There was material and minerals which were forming a body. But the soul did not penetrate yet. That's why it wasn't alive yet. Usually when I make this lecture, I show everything on a screen, and then you can see the pictures of the baby in the first month, second month, in how many weeks in a pregnancy, how the size of the baby. But today we're doing it without the presentation, so I have to, describe it to you with some words. So we find that in a generation that there was no sonogram, there's no way to measure heartbeat. None of the tests that doctors are doing and performing today, they had in those days. But the Gemara already wrote with no hesitation, life begins in the 41st day. End of the 48 days, life began. And it's very interesting, in two sources. One, when they're speaking about the impurity of a woman who just had a miscarriage. And the second source is that the angel came to God and told him what's going to be with this one. So the Gemara used the language 40 days before he became a human being. Which means in the 48 days, he's already officially a human being. Today, they made some experiments in the 3rd month of the pregnancy. One of the experiments they did, they pinched the nose of the baby. And he moved his head to the right. And then they pinched him again, and he moved again. Right away we understand that his nerve system in the 3rd month of the pregnancy is fully working. After 4 times that they pinched his nose, and he was keep moving his head to the side, trying to run away from the pain, when they came to do it for the 5th time, before the needle touched his nose, he already moved his head. Which means not only that his nerve system is working, is 100% thinking and anticipating danger coming, which means his brain is fully functioning. Then they injected sugar into the mei shafir, to the water, and the baby ate double than the normal, which means he liked Coke and Pepsi already before he was born. It's not only after, it's already injecting some sugar, and the baby is now much, much hungrier and enjoying the taste. That means he can tell the difference between flavors. All kinds of experiments. One more experiment they did, a smoking woman in the middle of the pregnancy. They show a video, what is the baby doing when his mother's smoking. So in the entire time, as soon as she starts smoking, you see that he's shrinking and he's suffering tremendously from that few moments that she smokes. But then, they made an unbelievable experiment. They told the woman, signal to us when you begin to crave a cigarette. Tell us, signal to us. And they were checking all the time how the baby behaves. So as soon as the mother was starting to crave that she wants to light a cigarette, he's already going into defensive mode. Which means he's connected to his mother minds, just like the Chachamim says, and he hears everything that happens. They made all kinds of experiments trying to prove, I don't know how scientific it is because I don't have the research, but from what reading in the past, that music, for instance, affecting the intelligence of the baby. Now, we know music affecting the soul of a person from the Torah. We know music can make a person happy, music can make him sad, music can bring the Shekhinah, the spirit of Hashem on him. We find from King Saul, that every time he fell down in his spirit, he called David, King David, before he became a king, and he was playing music for him. Obviously, the music was lifting his spirit up. And we know in life today that music can change mood very, very quickly. So we find, the Gaon Mivilna said that there are 2 gates in a spiritual world. One is the highest, which is the Torah. It's the highest spirituality that a person can reach. And there's one more gate, which is also very spiritual, that can reach almost to the same level. What is it? The music. The Gaon Mivilna says if people knew all the secrets of music, it's a whole Torah by itself. Yeah, you have some musicians, they know how to play nice music, but it's much more complicated than most of us understand. Let's move on. In many generations, people were puzzled about what create twins. Identical twins and non-identical twins. Nobody knew in the old days what the exact reason for twins, what creates them. Most of the people, their opinion was that from one relation between a man and a woman, it can create only one baby. And in the old days, they used to think that if 2 babies were born, that means it's from 2 different relationships, 2 different times. That's what people used to think. Then, when they invented the microscope for the first time, when they started to examine seeds, they found out that the baby is created from one seed, but they still did not know what caused twins. Until recently, only in our time, only a few years ago, you know, they started to understand finally after they invented very sophisticated machines that make all kinds of searches and check all kinds of things in science, that they found that non-identical twins are created from two different eggs. But identical twins are created from one egg that went with one seed and later split into two. Now, the question is, when was it declared by the scientists? In the beginning of the new century, and after the year 2000, which is less than 14 years ago. The question is it really a discovery of our generation, or it's something that Chazal 2,000 years ago already knew? That's the question. The Talmud, which was written approximately 2,000 years ago, little less, but long time ago, in a very primitive generation, the Talmud in Masechet Nida, page 27, this is what it says. Maaseh v'nishtaha vlad echad achar chavero gimel chodashim. One baby came out, and all of a sudden, after 3 months, the wife said, I have to give birth again. She gave birth, and there was another baby inside, and nobody knew. After that, the twin brother was born. And here they are. One, his name is Yehuda. They're showing them in a yeshiva. And one, his name is Chizkiah. Who are they? The son of the legendary rabbi, Rabbi Chia, one of the greatest rabbis who ever lived in history. He had two boys. One was born now, and the other one was born 3 months later. The Gemara says, how can it be? A woman cannot become pregnant what she's already pregnant. There's no pregnancy fall on top of the other. So, how can it be? Amar Abaye, Abaye answer is also one of the biggest rabbis. One drop it was, and it was split in two. One was formed completely in the beginning of the 7th month of the pregnancy, and one was formed completely in the end of the 9th month. And that's what created more than 2 months difference between the giving birth to those two. So the Gemara say something that we only discovered in our days with all the billions of dollars research and equipment and everything that we have today. The Gemara already told you that there was one drop who split it into two inside the mother's womb. Something like this, no person was able to know, and no one was able to guess such a thing, unless if they knew this information from the creator of the world who gave life. There's no way for anyone to imagine such a thing in such days. Until 14 years ago, nobody could imagine it until we finally got the equipment that we have today. Let's give a few more examples. Who was the first